Dear all, my name is Grzegorz Jankowicz, and on behalf of Biuro Literackie, I conduct this set of conversations with writers whose books are being presented in a series called New European Literary Canon. I ask these writers about their prose and poetry. I ask about experiences behind the books. I also try to bring up our individual and collective identities, European identities, and sometimes we even envision what may happen with our European forms of life in the future. This is second season, and my guest today is Maria Navarro Skaranger. Hello, Maria.
Hello.
Your novel is very multifaceted and tells of many experiences. But one of its dominant themes is the experience of loneliness, experience of isolation, which the main character, Emily, cannot cope with. The novel was published in Norway in 2021. Did the pandemic influence the choice of this theme?
No, I don't think so. I think her loneliness is connected with like her way of living. She lives a very small life. She doesn't have many possibilities, so her loneliness is in a kind of way connected with poverty. I think it's like an inner loneliness that. Poverty has many consequences, not only lack of money, but like loneliness and lack of education and so on and so on. But I think the pandemic. I think the book is about like having a child, and I became a mother under the pandemic. So that's that's the line to the pandemic, but loneliness is a universal theme or feeling. So, yes.
She has a very complicated, maybe not complicated, but complex relationship with her mother, who seems to be overprotective. She's always there to help, but many times in a bad way. What are the reasons for this overprotectiveness? What does the mother want from Emily, showing her this overprotectiveness?
I never thought about her as overprotective, but they have like a special bond because Emily, she doesn't have a father, so she only has a mother. So her mother is her only parent. So it's like the relationship is like different from like a normal conventional family when you only have one parent. But she wants to help, but she doesn't really like get inside Emily's life, or she doesn't really. The mother is just standing around and like she's trying to be here, but she's not like really. She's not doing something. She just stands there. Maybe that's some kind of overprotectiveness. I don't know. She doesn't interfere, I think. Maybe. Yeah. But I think that's very normal for a parent to do. When your child is like grown up, and there's a grown-up person here, but that doesn't manage life. But what can you do as a parent? You can't like. They're not like a. They're not yourself. So, yeah.
As you said, the story is about a woman who becomes a mother. The whole process, starting with pregnancy. But the situation in which she finds herself is very peculiar because her partner left her. She's alone, and she has to face the situation on her own. But she's not able to. She doesn't have enough resources to deal with the pregnancy and the whole life. everyone she has been or is in contact with lets her know that she needs to try harder. People tell her, you should do this, you should do that, you should just, overcome the situation. But the situation is too difficult for her. And what I like about the novel is that you do not concentrate, you do not focus on her individual lack of strength, but you present the systemic structure in which she lives, and actually the systemic structure is the main reason why she cannot deal with the situation. Would you agree with such interpretation?
Yes, I think so. I think the novel is about how we look at people, and the way we look at people is a kind of like structural. Yeah. I have to think now. Can you say some of it again?
My question was about whether it's individual problem or a systemic problem.
Okay. Yes.
If she is really responsible for all these problems that she faces in her life, or she's just a prisoner who's stuck in the situation created by someone else, including the social and political system in which she dwells.
That you can, like in this book, you can see that she's like how we are thinking that she's an individual, that she has to manage things herself, but she's actually a part of the system. Is it something? No?
She is a part of the system. Of course, she is an individual person. She has her sensibility and a lot of experiences that she tries to understand. But at the same time, she cannot cross a certain boundaries because it's not her fault that she was stuck in this situation.
Yeah, of course. She cannot cross boundaries. She cannot, like, she works at a supermarket, and you cannot just quit your job at the supermarket and like start at the university, because in Norway we like everyone is like taking higher education, and when you're not taking higher education, people like look down at you. And I used to work at the supermarket when I was like 19. And I remember I sat there and I scanned all the food, and like a customer come and said to me, "Oh, what are you going to do about your life? Are you going to sit here?" And that's like a way of like looking at people that has like working class jobs and all these jobs that Emily has. But I think also that if she was supposed to like do something about her life, like start at the university and have a nanny, or like it would become like a different book. It would become a book about class. What do you call it? When you move up the classes,
you just try to cross the boundaries between social classes.
Yeah.
And you just want to climb to the top.
Yeah, and it would be a book about climbing. And this is not a book about climbing. I think it's a book about like she realizes some things about herself, and that's her way of like becoming older and like becoming a mom. She realizes, oh, I was an only child as well, or I do the same thing. I'm in the same situation as my mother was, but it's not about a book about like class climbing. And if I would have written that book, it would also have been like it would not feel so real, I think. I would like make things up, like who works at the supermarket and just suddenly starts like at med school.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I really like it because you just take off a lot of pressure from this character. You do not make her do things she is unable to do, just to prove someone else that she is able to. For example, attend a university and transform her life from failure into a success.
Yeah. It's I just don't think that's how the reality is. I don't think she's living quite like her life is boring, I think, or she doesn't do what we expect her to do. And but I don't know, people don't do it. And what can you actually expect from, like, she's very young, she's 19, so she's grown up, but she's not like a grown up. She's a youth, and she's becoming a mother, so she's like transforming from a woman into a mother, and she's like in a constant like transformation, and so she's like undecidable. I think in a way that's really and that's not something that you just don't finish and become like a whole person. She's like wobbly in so many ways. That's
It is also a story about pregnancy, about how a woman can or cannot cope with this state. And I wonder, because we are in Poland, because of our law, young women are afraid to get pregnant because they feel like they do not have enough protection from the state, from hospitals, for example, from the institutions. They feel like they could be forced to do things they don't want to do. They feel like they need more freedom. We have a very strict anti-abortion law in Poland. So it's very difficult for young women to have a child in Poland nowadays. How is it in Norway? How is the situation in Norway these days?
I think in Norway you can't say it's like difficult, like because we have like a healthcare system and we have everything. People in Norway, a lot of them are so rich, so and then it's not a problem to like you have to buy things for the baby, but you doesn't like get a bill from the hospital when you're like having a childbirth. But in Norway, people are also waiting a lot to like have children. So it's very, people like, first you have to have a partner, and then you have to, people want to like buy apartments, and then you have to like get the job, and then you like have to fix your apartment, and then you can like start about the baby, and then you're 35 years and it's difficult. So in Norway people often have like get like one child now. So Emily is like atypical, I think. But in where I grew up like in the suburbs of Oslo, in the same like area where Emily grows up. People had children a lot earlier than like in the central areas of Oslo, where people are older and more like
because of their
sad.
life situation.
Yeah, because probably, or like they want different things from life. I think, many reasons.
In response to the question we posed, and the question was, can literature change the world?
Can I add something?
Of course.
I just think that in Norway we have like we think that everything needs to be perfect to have a baby, and that's it's very strange in a way when you're writing about like a 19-year-old that her life is absolutely not perfect, and it's probably never gonna be in like a Norwegian standard.
But what do you mean that you need to create your world in a perfect way, to provide the best what's possible for the kid, or to feel secure in your position, social, economic position, before
to feel secure in a social,
Mm-hmm.
economic position before you're having a baby.
All right.
That's very like, I think that's very normal in Norway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
In response to the question we posed, and the question was, can literature change the world? You wrote that your writing is not interventionist. And what goal do you set for yourself when you start writing then? If you do not want to intervene, if you do not want to change the world, what is the purpose, what is the goal of your literature?
Oh, difficult question. I don't know. When I start to write, I'm just writing. I think I try to find out something about like myself or my own world. Or I have written 3 books and soon 4 books about like the same area or the same like, I write about people like Emily in my book, and with like low social economic status and loneliness and poverty. And I think now my writing is about like trying to figure out how I can like finish and round up that project. I don't want to write about it anymore. That's the only thing I can do. But I want to write about maybe like how it's like to work as an au pair in France. I don't know, something else. I want to be freer in a way. But yeah, so now my writing is about like trying to close something in myself, I think. Yes.
You added
Yeah.
to this sentence I quote a few seconds ago, you added that changing the world is the side effect of literature. Could you explain what you mean by this sentence? What does it mean that it's only a side effect?
I don't know. I just don't think that like changing the world can like come from an author, because it's the reader that has to like make the opinions and think and evolving the book into something else, and then like the world changes. And as a reader, you can like experience when you read a book, you can like, oh, this book changed my world, but it's not like the writer is deciding that. I think that's the reader's job. So it's maybe something about that, I think. I often like, I have read many books that like changed my world, I think. But
could you name one that was particularly influential during your childhood or now? The book that really struck you, the book that really transformed you as a human or even as a writer?
Yeah, I think maybe like Tolkien's Lord of the Rings has been very important to me, because it like provides some kind of safety, the book, and then you can like escape from your and escapism is like a bad word in literature, people say, but I think it like provide a safe space for like me as a youth to be in, and it was like comforting, and the Lord of the Rings is like essentially about a home, or like what is a home, or can you have a home after a like traumatizing experience or something like that. And it really like it was Lord of the Rings is my like the biggest book, I think. Yeah, it's a masterpiece. Yes.
Maria, I know that you are working on your 4th book.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes.
What's the theme?
Oh, it's what do you call it? It's a continuation. It's it's a novel about Emily's mother.
Okay.
Yes. So it's about her life and.
So it's a sort of a prequel to.
No,
Emily
it's not
Forever.
what the prequel is before.
Mhm.
No, it's not. It's after. It's like a couple of years after. Emily's mother, she starts acting weird because she has been in a car accident. So she has kind of a meltdown, I think. Then you like get to see some parts of her life. Yeah, but it was interesting when you asked me about the mother's overprotectiveness. I just thought about the new text, and I was like, is it overprotective or not? But yeah, that's the new book. Mm.
Good luck with this,
Thank you.
Thank you for this conversation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.